What's up, guys? This is my 2002 Acura RSX. I bought the car about 5 years ago, I think. I'd always wanted one when I was a teenager, and once I kind of finally grew up and had enough money, I bought one, and this is my rendering of it. The bumper's fine, it's up there. I'm just too lazy to cut it, to put the intercooler and everything on it. One day I will. Car made 535 horsepower and 349 foot-pounds of torque. I will stick a couple of dyno videos in here. I bought the car about 5 years ago in the next town over, Shreveport, which is actually where I just found the Wago van drivetrain to make this car all-wheel drive this weekend, and the transmission. But I drove up there, I bought it from a kid, paid $5 grand for it. It's in pretty good shape. It had some function form Type 2s on it, it slammed, and it came with a set of championship white DC5 ITR wheels. They were in pretty good shape, they just didn't have tires. So I rolled the stock wheels on it for a while, bought some tires after a couple years. The suspension was fucked, so I bought the suspension that's on it now. It's a set of custom Fortunato 500s with Swift springs. They're valved for the spring rates, all that jazz. Super nice suspension. I kind of wish I would have went a little stiffer, a little more racy, but it is what it is. I bought the car. I wound up having to change the suspension on it. Had a fart can on it. I drugged that because it was slammed so low, and wound up just running an open header for a while. Pissed my neighbors off pretty good, to the point that I had to fucking put an exhaust on it. They called the cops a couple times. Not doing anything but just getting up and going to work in the morning. Now obviously it doesn't have an exhaust at all, but different neighbors, different times. I drove it for a while, put a clutch in it, and put some synchros in the transmission. That was the first time I built the transmission. And it ran fine for a pretty good time. And then I parked it and it sat here for a while. I started buying parts for it. I bought a nice intake and a nice header, and then I sold them because I bought a Greddy turbo kit. And then never put the intake and header on, never put the Greddy turbo kit on. I started buying all these parts, this turbo and this manifold, and then sold the Greddy kit. And after a couple years of it kind of sitting here, I decided it was time to start putting it together. So I did all the fab work here in the garage. I did everything on the car except for tune it. But I did it all with the motor still in the car. I never pulled the motor out until after it was tuned a couple months ago. I had a problem and had to pull it out, and then had to pull the trans back out and rebuild the trans because it just destroyed fucking second gear. I'll try to stick some pictures in there of fucking second gear. But this is where it sits today. It's kind of time now, especially now it's cooling it off. I want to change out the bushings in the front end, put some spherical bushings in there and stuff. But and it's time to put seals or get the turbo rebuilt. I bought the turbo used. It probably had a ton of miles on it before it ever got to my hands, and it's done good for a while, but it's smoking a little bit. The compression's good. I did a compression test on it, so it's all fine. But this is it. I'll show you I'll walk you through the whole car from front to back with everything that's done to it. So. What's up, guys? This is my 2002 Acura RSX in all of its piece of shit glory. So let's start inside of it. I'm gonna try to list everything that I've bought or that's in the car right now. We'll just say that's in the car right now. We'll go through it bit by bit. This is a JDM Integra Type R airbag and Momo steering wheel. It's not in the best condition. It's got some wear on it, but it's not perfect. Sorry, the sun keeps fucking with me. These are ITR DC5 Recaros. They're in pretty good shape. They do have the sliders with them. They are real. These are DC5 ITR pedals, or pedal covers, I should say. I've got JDM Integra floor mats, DC5 Integra floor mats. A JDM DC5R red carpet with the little right-hand drive gas lever and the gas door cables. Then the dead pedal, obviously. Underneath that cover right there, we got a K-Pro V4. This fine specimen right here is a K-Tune race spec shifter with a JDM ITR steering wheel, or shift knob. This does have the K-tuned 5th gear lockout and the Drag Cartel 1st and 2nd gear lockout. The car absolutely terribly dirty inside. I don't take care of my shit, but I don't ever drive this thing, so I don't vacuum it out that often. But other than that, it's all stock. It's got the stock back seats, stock dash, super old school Pioneer head unit that I've had since I was a teenager, and an EP3 hazard button. This guy right here, this awesome little switch, is the clutch bypass. And what that guy is I have a twin disc clutch, and it puts a lot of pressure on the thrust washers in the engine. So they say it's best to not press the clutch in when you're starting it, because there's no oil pressure or anything yet. So I use this to bypass the clutch switch when I start it, after I make sure it's in neutral, obviously. I think that's it on the inside. JDM Integra door sills. Now for the outside of this piece of shit, we'll start at the back and go to the front, I guess. Let's see, back here we've got stock brakes with Fortunato 500 series coilovers. Can't show you, I believe you can see them through there. And Swift springs. And then obviously real Desmond Evo Regamasters. These are 17x9 plus 18s, if I remember right. That's why they stick way the fuck out. Maybe one day we'll go all-wheel drive. It looks like it is right now. Same thing up front, Fortunato 500s. Can't see. You still can't see them. I've got Energy suspension mounts, a Willwood big brake kit, which sucks, by the way. Don't ever buy Willwood. I made this battery mount. So I fabricated that, did all that little janky shit. I've got JDM ITR headlights, and they've got new ballast and lamps in them that I had to track down over here in the States. It was a motherfucker to find. Down here you can see where I tucked my fuse box, and maybe there's a better picture of the suspension and stuff. I fabricated these charge pipes. I fabricated the intercooler mount. It's a Treadstone intercooler. I want to say
I want to say it's like a TR8 or something. It might be a TR10, but it's one of their vertical flow intercoolers. Oh, and then the good shit. My unevenly cut hole for the exhaust, which I still got to make a trim ring and do that. I finished building this car this year, and I haven't really jacked with it since then. I need new seals for the turbocharger. It smokes a little bit, but compression's good. Everything's good on it. It just, I bought the turbo used. So. Now, once again, I should be shot for putting this car on the interwebs in this kind of shape because it's fucking dirty. It's never been this dirty before, but I don't have time to clean it, nor do I feel like fucking with it right now. I'll clean it up, you know, next year when I start driving it again. But here is the setup. It is a K20A2. It was native to the car. With the 6-speed transmission that was native to the car. The transmission has a Gear X 1 through 4 synchro gear set with Syncrotech synchros. It has Speed Factory D-dent springs and M-Tech shifter springs, and a M Factory LSD. It still has the factory final drive. I think it's 4.7 if I remember right. I've got a 4.3 at the house. Either that or it's the other way around. This has a 4.3 and I got the 4.7 sitting at the house. The transmission has been the biggest problem on the fucking car. Broke it several times now, but it's finally holding together. I like the gear set. It's a good gear set. For the price, it's great. It's just first gear is kind of long, but that's the trans. Stock axles. Has sport mounts right there. Same thing I got in the back. Up front, I've got an innovative mount. Once again, I fabricated all this charge pipe. A tile blow-off valve, tile Q blow-off valve. An RBC manifold that I've opened it up to 70 millimeters in here. I also welded a B-series throttle body flange on. And this is a B-series S90 70 millimeter throttle body. Honda 4-bar. Stock AC stuff, stock radiator. It does have EP3 AC lines that I've lengthened. You can tell. They come down right here. I've got a K-tune power steering delete. The car does not have power steering right now. I also deleted ABS. I used an EM2 proportioning valve. I don't know if you can see it down there. I bent 2 hard lines. I bent this hard line right here, and I bent the hard line that runs over here. The rest are stainless flex lines. This is my shitty heat wrap that I keep fucking up that I can't get right, but when I pull the turbo, I'm gonna fix all that. I've got an air motive regulator with a radium fuel rail, a radium gauge. I do have a return. I've got a -8 feed and a -6 return. This is the feed, this is the return. Going back to a DW 300C fuel pump on ID 1000 injectors. This is the factory wiring harness that I went and re-loomed. This is the original throttle cable that you can see. I don't know if you can see how I mounted it, but it comes out and loops around. Like I said before, I've got a competition twin disc clutch. Back here, we got a full race turbo manifold and a tile 44 millimeter MBR wastegate. And then there is an Acuity oil cube down there to feed the wastegate, or to feed the turbo. The turbo is a precision journal bearing 6765 with a billet wheel. It needs seals right now. Fucking piece of shit. But either way, it needs seals. The engine is bone stock. It's never had the head off of it. Still got the same head gasket Honda put on it when it rolled off the assembly line in 2002 or 2003, whenever it was. I did have an issue. It does have a new crank, but it is a factory 140,000 mile crank that I pulled out of a Z1. What happened was, right after I got the car running, I had a bullshit action clutch in here. The flywheel wobbled and fucked the end of the crank up, so I had to put a new crank in it. But other than that, the motor's never been opened up. Like I said, even that's still stock. Still has the original bearings, rings, everything is original. I fabricated these up pipes. That's an interesting story too. When I got the car tuned, I did real good on the dyno, and then as soon as I got it home, I started ripping with it, and I was hitting boost cut real bad. And back then, I fabricated a downpipe for it, and the wastegate dump went into the downpipe. That way it all came out there 3-inch down underneath the car. Well, I was hitting boost cut because it was boost creeping real bad because you couldn't get rid of the exhaust through the wastegate quick enough. So I did these up pipes. It fixed it for the most part. Every once in a while it'll creep. Normally around 4th, 5th gear. I think if you watch, I'll put a video in here of it actually doing it. It seems like it hits rev limiter. But for the most part, it's fixed. Guys, if you're building a K-Series motor, do a 60mm gate. It's just either do a 60 or do 244s. I don't know why in the hell they ever designed a manifold with a single 44 gate. But then again, they probably weren't planning on guys trying to make fucking 600 horsepower out of stock motors. Let's see, we've got poly tube and push lock fittings. There are no rubber vacuum lines on the car. I fabricated this little bracket. There's our PWM solenoid for the boost control and a 4 Innovations vacuum manifold. It feeds from right here, as you can tell, and then it feeds out to everything. Here's for our regulator. There's our boost control. One of these is for the blow-off valve, and the other one is for the brake booster. See up in there. Still has a factory check valve. It's just none of that, no rubber anywhere. I believe that is it. I know it's a mouthful, but there's really not that much done to the car. It's a fucking stock motor. Nicest thing on it's the wheels. I should be shot for leaving them in that kind of condition. The most important thing, the car was tuned by Alex Pagan at Humble Performance. Hats off to those guys. Him and Kenny were the only two I really dealt with when I was there. They, I think everybody else was out of town or had something going on. But I emailed them about getting the car tuned. I was antsy. I wanted to get it done and going. And I said, hey man, can you get me in? This was on like a Tuesday. I said, can you get me in on Friday? And he emailed me back, said sure. Next thing you know, the car's on the dyno. He gave me more than what I asked for. I knew the car could make 500. I knew it was possible to make 500 with him. He did 535. It's on 93 octane right now, and we kind of got the injectors maxed out. But great guy, great shop to deal with. Hats off to them. I probably won't ever take my car anywhere, or any of my cars anywhere else ever again to get them tuned. So go support these guys. They do great work. But that is it. I gotta see if I can do some burnouts or something, some stupid shit. See if we can fuck it up, break it. I don't ever drive it, so we'll take it out and see what we can do.